everyone. Welcome to the Real Estate Private Equity Show. I'm your host, Ava Benesocky, and I'm joined by the famous August Biniaz over here. If you guys can please like and subscribe, as it helps us build our channel and allows us to keep bringing you great content and incredible guest expert speakers like we have on our show today.
Absolutely.
Adam Carswell.
And I'm only famous on LinkedIn. Okay, you're the famous one everywhere else, all right?
True, that's so true.
Speaking of all summits and platforms. So super excited about the show today. So we have a fellow Canadian who is a superstar in the US real estate private equity space.
Yeah.
And he's a co-founder of multiple different platforms, but RaiseMasters being one of them. So
I have to be honest with you, August. I'm a little bit more excited than you are today because I'm going to pick Adam's brain about how to be an elite capital raiser. And my job here at CPI Capital is to bring in the money. So I can't wait to dive right into his brain and ask him some questions on
Yeah,
this.
we're going to put him under the gun, ask him a lot of questions, bring a lot of value to ourselves and our audience. So please like and subscribe. This is not monetized. We put out all our time to bring you amazing guests and organize that and come up with the questions and research our guests. So please just like and subscribe because that kind of pays your fee for watching this. All right, everyone. So okay, awesome. Let's get right into it. And
before we say hi to Adam, I gotta introduce him here because he has one of the best bios that I've ever come across in my life.
Ever. That's serious.
And you guys are gonna see how cool of a guy we're interviewing today. So here we go. Adam Carswell. He is a real estate entrepreneur and podcaster. He is a LinkedIn power networker. So you got competition, August, and a new media marketing maverick. Adam's expertise in communication sets him apart from the crowd. He is the co-founder of RaiseMasters, the #1 mastermind for elite capital raisers. Now, Adam earned the moniker the Voice of Liberty as the master of ceremonies at Liberland national events and hosts the nation's podcast, The Liberland Show. He is also a cryptocurrency pioneer and the co-host of the Blockchain Real Estate Summit. Over the years, Adam has interviewed world leaders such as Grant and Elator Cardone, Doug Casey, Roger Ver, and G. Edward Griffin. Adam is also a former semi-pro basketball player and was inducted, yes, I love it, and was inducted into the Hall of Fame at his alma mater for his accomplishments on the court as well as on the track. Now, super cool, guys. A little just kind of fun tidbit about Adam. In his spare time, he is training to become a world-class DJ.
I would have never guessed that, other than the groovy background, back there, the DJ, super all that cool stuff over there. All right, cool. Awesome. So
before we jump into things, we believe this interview with Adam will bring great value to active investors in learning how joining a mastermind could help them with their capital raising endeavors, and passive investors looking to learn how real estate private equity firms raise capital. Adam, you're so cool. Welcome to our show.
Welcome, man.
It is an honor to be here. I got to let you guys know, I've been really impressed with the work that you've put in over probably about the past 2 years. I remember when you first popped up on LinkedIn, and I'll be honest, I was like, okay, it's more people just out here making noise. And who am I to say that, right? Like, I'm out here pretty much doing the same thing, but you have been consistent. And that is the one thing I just can't stress to anyone who's looking to become a thought leader is when you show up every week, good things happen. If you're not already subscribed to this show, again, make sure you smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. Ava and August are putting in the work, and it's a good duo to follow for sure.
Awesome. Thanks. We appreciate that. It means a lot coming from you.
Yeah, thanks, Adam. And Adam, meetings like this are usually paid engagements. As it's very similar to a coaching call. So we believe our viewers are going to just gain great value by having you today. And just thank you so much for taking the time and being here with us.
All right.
Ready to get after it.
Awesome.
All right.
So yeah, like before starting with our questions, you're located here in Canada, like I mentioned earlier. So tell us a little bit more about that, Canada, US, all this stuff. You're a superstar in the US real estate private equity space. Tell us about that connection, and then we'll get into your background and whatever.
So I currently live in St. John's, Newfoundland, Canada, probably as far on the other side of the country as I can get from you guys right now. I began a digital nomad journey here in 2019 that never ended. Met my wife here. I'm originally from Cleveland, Ohio. Played basketball growing up, also ran track and field throughout high school and college, and had a really good career on both the track and on the court. Took my talents, I shouldn't say the LeBron way, I was going to say took my talents to South Beach, but took my talents to Belize, and went and played and coached basketball in Central America for a couple of years. And after that, I realized I did not want to pursue a future in coaching, which was why I really did that in the first place. I wanted to kind of at that stage in life, I was 23. I had just got my master's degree. I'm like, I want to do the American dream. I want to get a job with the Fortune 500 and work my way up the corporate ladder like my parents always dreamed. After 2 years, I realized the people at Sherwin-Williams Paint Company, I got a job with them in the Washington, D.C. area and managed stores for them. And it was a blast. Anyone who knows me knows I was all in for Sherwin-Williams, but I quickly uncovered the people that were leading me and that I wanted to be like one day, who are making six figures, still were working 80-hour weeks. And no, like, not to be a millionaire, billionaire, trillionaire is like the ultimate goal in life, but you definitely create more options for yourself the more wealth you have. And I realized, man, if I want to really take life in my own hands, I have to pursue entrepreneurship. And it seems like the most guaranteed way to success in entrepreneurship was either real estate or tech. And I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad twice, became a real estate agent. And, again, fast forward about 4 years now, working alongside guys like Hunter Thompson. And it's just been a really fun journey, and we can do it from anywhere, which is cool. And we're going to be moving to Calgary soon too, which isn't too far from you guys.
Yeah, it's a great business city. A lot of entrepreneurs come out of Calgary.
I found this out. The most millionaires per capita in major Canadian cities, Calgary is actually number one.
For sure.
Okay.
Their economy is a bit oil based, but not with the rising prices of oil, but it is a kind of a oil dependent economy, but that is changing. The government there is trying to bring in a lot of other initiatives to bring other types of businesses there. But yeah, I'm bullish about Calgary long term. And
when you move to Calgary, you'll have to come visit me, because you and I have to have a basketball game, because I was on a AA team actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. What position did you play?
I was defense.
Okay. In basketball?
Oh, wait, was it defense?
Yeah. In basketball, you play defense and offense.
Yeah, defense.
But, I mean, you seem like you do have an athletic background.
I definitely do. I don't look like it, but I was definitely.
Come on, girl. You're talking about you gotta go against.
You gotta
go against him, and you don't know what position you're playing. Come on, man. Come on. You're doing this live on the show.
We'll let it slide. We'll let it slide.
All right. Sorry, I was thinking hockey and ringette that I played as well.
In that case, challenge accepted. I'm gonna win that one.
100%. I'm just telling you. Okay, well, I don't want to say my age here, but we're talking back in high school.
All right, fair enough. Let's keep going. All right.
Okay, Adam, let's dive into what we do today, and that's real estate private equity. But if you could start off by telling our viewers a bit about your background and then your start in real estate private equity, please.
Sure, yeah. And I think, there's an important disclaimer to kind of throw out there. I am currently not what I would consider like a traditional capital raiser. I've played an investor relations role at ASIM Capital. We've built this mastermind where, operationally speaking and internally, I'm kind of the glue for RaiseMasters. If anyone listening right now is not familiar with who Hunter Thompson is, over the past decade, we've at the company raised a little over 60 million, now closing in on $70 million. And so a lot of what I have done working with Hunter has been a conduit of bringing capital and bringing investors to our company, and kind of technicalities to him and now Tyler Lyons, who's our director of investments. So I know a thing or two about influencing people through communication and getting them across the finish line and attracting capital ultimately to ASIM and in our environment. So I just want to say that, so that way no one thinks I'm coming in here saying, oh yeah, Adam's raised 100 million, listen to his secrets. I know the secrets of communication though. So my story is, as I mentioned, I was working in a paint store or managing stores in Washington, DC, thinking there's got to be more to life, and read Rich Dad, Poor Dad twice, went and pursued my real estate license in Washington, Virginia, and Maryland. Got started with RE/MAX Distinctive. Big shout out to my broker when I first got started, Andrew Reamer. For those who are familiar with the brokerage side of residential, typically when you get in, you don't just join RE/MAX. That's something where like you've been in the game for a decade and then you join a RE/MAX. So I was grateful that whatever he saw in me, he was like, we're going to give this kid a chance. And, it worked out very well. And then during that time, when I had quit my job, all of a sudden, there was so much time that I had available to dive into self-education in a way that I had never done in my life before, and started going down all these YouTube rabbit holes. Hopefully, like some of you today who are watching us on YouTube, you're going down these educational rabbit holes, hoping to find a gold nugget. This is one for you. And I found Hunter on a podcast, and I'm like, man, I really want to be like this guy. I only knew residential at the time, but I was like, I really want to figure out how to get into commercial real estate. It seems like a 9-to-5 environment. I could take the weekends off because even when I had gone into residential, I'm, waiting for clients to get done with their day job, showing houses into the night, writing contracts at 3 a.m. on a Saturday. Sorry, that wasn't for me. So when I saw what was possible in the world of raising money and aligning with someone like Hunter and another really good friend of mine and someone I've worked closely with, Michael Flight, the CEO of Liberty Fund, partnering up with those two completely changed the trajectory of my life. And that's why I was kind of saying, being able to leverage what you're good at, being able to leverage communication and networking, where I've been able to get over the past 4, almost 5 years now, is something that might take someone 10, 20 years without the power of the internet, LinkedIn, etc. So really looking forward to sharing everything we can here today with you guys.
Amazing. Yeah. I want to briefly touch on it. This is not kind of part of our question. It was a question that came up, is that you're in the real estate space as a broker. You want to scale. You want to be, kind of curious about what else exists. You see Hunter on a show, but now how does that go from just seeing somebody online to you aligning with them and eventually co-founding a company with them? That's huge, because a lot of people put these limitations on themselves when they see a thought leader out there. They might not even send an email because they feel like, oh, I can't. This person is on such higher level than me. Like, how did that come out? Because that process in itself is huge, because going into a mentor-mentee situation and then building your way up, showing so much potential that the person is like, hey, come on board and partner up with me. It was, so tell us about that dynamic. It's very important, I think.
I'm so grateful for it. And I'm happy that you've kind of taken the moment to zoom in on this, because I'm here to say it is achievable for anyone who's listening. And the way that it happened was, as I mentioned, I'm scouring YouTube, going through all this content. And there was one channel that I followed that, quite frankly, was a lot more focused on like worldview type of stuff. So Hunter and I like to joke, we're like your friendly neighborhood anarchists. We're not really big fans of government. And so Hunter was on this show that was very not typical for someone like him to come on. He was probably the most buttoned up person to come on this show ever. And I was like, man, this guy sees the world through the same lens that I do. He's in commercial real estate. This is insane. I got to reach out to him. And part of it was good timing, because he was just starting to consider getting into the world of education at this point. And he said out of the 15 to 20,000 downloads that show got, surprisingly, I was the only person that reached out to him after.
Wow.
And I'm going through this is before he even really thought that he was going to start teaching people. But I'm like, what can I do to add value to you? I know like you're kind of a few levels ahead of me. What can I do? And he's like, well, if you want to introduce me to like the 10 wealthiest people in your network, then that's a good start. And at age,
he went right for it, eh? He went right for the money. Wow.
He did.
That's awesome.
And I look at my Rolodex then compared to now, which is literally 100x, and I'm scrapping through like all these people that I know that might have like maybe 50 grand to invest. Probably 4 out of the 10 could even qualify. But I introduced him to all of them. I don't even really know where all those relationships went, but my broker at Remax, Andrew Reamer, was one of the people that I introduced him to. And I remember walking into our office one day and he goes, hey, Adam, I talked to that Hunter guy you introduced me to. He's like, keep hanging out with people like that. I'm like, wow, okay. And so I had, over a 2 to 3 week period, followed up with Hunter and just said, if there's any way I can like work for you or whatever, like let me know. And he came back about a month later and was like, hey, I'm working on putting together this program, the Cash Flow Connections mentorship program. Is this something you would be interested in? And that was like, I'll say that's like Michael Jordan saying, hey, I need a new someone to come play on this team. Do you want to play? It was a hell yeah. I'm like, where do I sign? So that was also when I realized the power of investing in yourself. At that time, it was $2,000. It was 50% off of what we ended up eventually selling the program for. And me and 4 other people went through that course. I was probably the only one in there that didn't even know what an asset class was when the course started. And I just continued to hang on for dear life. And after we finished, we did a couple follow-up calls. And the 2 things that Hunter said to me that I still think about today. One was, dude, you have a podcast? I just realized I keep saying dude. So I'm going to try and not over dude this interview, but it's like, dude, you have a podcast? Why are you not releasing an episode per week? This is 2017. I'm like, I don't know. He's like, you should do that. And I have not let go of that advice ever since. And it's served me and everyone in our network very well. And then the other thing was, hey, I'm going to a conference in June. I need someone to man the booth. I don't really have anyone. Would you be interested? And that was another Michael Jordan invite moment. I'm like, yeah, I'll be there. Like, I don't know how, like, I think he might've helped me pay for my hotel, but like I fly out there, all that stuff when I barely had 2 pennies to rub together. And we've been best friends ever since.
What an incredible journey, man. That's to all the young entrepreneurs out there that are looking to kind of make it in a certain business. Doesn't even have to be real estate, but, you know, be laser focused on somebody you look up to and try to connect with them. I mean, in the book that we're reading now, Think and Grow Rich, it's the same idea. Is the fellow, I forgot his name, but he wants to connect with Edison, and Edison is at this time at the pinnacle of success when it comes to building a new kind of not machinery but new devices. And this guy just makes it his life mission, and the book kind of goes over that in the first few chapters.
And Adam said, hold on for your life. Like, just hold on for your life and keep going. That's super
And I think that, this is a piece of advice that I got from Hunter after I had kind of unintentionally done what he was recommending to some people in our group. Find one, maybe two, like you really don't want to overwhelm yourself, 1 or 2 people that are somewhere in their life that you want to be. And it's even more valuable if you know that, again, from like a worldview perspective, that you align with them and consume everything they have. Like, after you've consumed everything they have, go back through it and pursue that person. And eventually you'll be sitting there right next to them. Or if something happens along the way and you see another direction you want to go, once you've gotten there, pivot and then pursue that next model or whoever it is that you're looking to kind of pursue. So that's a really valuable piece of advice. And I did that recently with a gentleman named Myron Golden, who's arguably the greatest communicator salesman that I've ever come across. A lot of his teachings, he helps individuals in the ClickFunnels community, which is an inner circle that Hunter and I are in with Russell Brunson. He helps all of those people learn how to sell from the stage. And there's a reason why they'll come back to him. So if there's anyone that I'm like studying very hardcore right now, that I wouldn't be surprised if I'll be giving him a hug soon, even though we've never met, is Myron Golden.
Amazing.
Communication and sales master.
Amazing, incredible journey. Now, let's get to the next question. Now, you bring up Russell Brunson. That was our next question. So maybe before getting into capital raising and real estate private equity, let's discuss sales and marketing. Most of us have seen Russell Brunson on our YouTube feed and the concept of sale funnels. Could you please explain what sales funnels are and how could this concept of sales funnel be utilized in different businesses, including real estate private equity?
Yeah, so the really interesting question that we get a lot for those who are interested in joining RaiseMasters, maybe it's not one specific question, but they are tied to ClickFunnels because people see that we've had success using that platform. So before I dive into that point, let me say that Russell Brunson is arguably, maybe we're a little bit biased because we're in his inner circle, but I'd say he's paving the way for marketing for all entrepreneurs right now. And so if you're not familiar with who he is, I would let's see, what's the best way.
If you're not familiar with him, just look back at people that you watch. And if you see a record that looks like an award behind them, that means they were connected in some way to Russell Brunson. That means, like, I've seen this on all different businesses and what have you. So it's
I'll show you here.
It's like,
I don't know if it'll show up on the camera.
Kind of move
it back just a tiny bit for it to the zoom of the the focus is focusing on your face, not on the
either way.
Well, you guys, I seen that on LinkedIn that you guys, it was you and Hunter Thompson that got that award from Russell Brunson on stage, right?
Right. Yeah, we won the 2 Comma Club award, which was over $1 million in revenue generated using the platform ClickFunnels. So back to the other point I was gonna make. On the capital raising front, I think a lot of people come to us thinking that we're using ClickFunnels to attract and convert investors, when in reality, we really aren't. The only way you can maybe perceive that, I would say, is we've done a couple summits. We've done 5 million in 30 days summit. We've got a new one coming up here, 100k2invest.com. You can check that one out. So we've leveraged ClickFunnels to attract passive investors in that way. But aside from that, on the capital raising front, a lot of our methods that we practice at ASIM Capital and that we educate and encourage our members to pursue are actually all completely organic. Nothing to really do with ClickFunnels, in fact. ClickFunnels is something that we've had success with attracting capital raisers to us for RaiseMasters. And because of that, definitely learned a lot of things about the platform that I'd be happy to share and dive into. But I do want to let our listeners know, if you're looking to create an educational product or service, then I would recommend ClickFunnels, not necessarily for the attracting passive investors piece, although it can be done.
Amazing. But it also, ClickFunnels can be utilized within the onboarding process of an investor seeing your content somewhere and then getting into your funnel somehow and receiving a workflow of emails and what have you. Could some of those fundamentals be used within that investor journey coming into your community?
You're absolutely right. It absolutely can. And what I would really encourage to anyone who wants to leverage this to attract passive investors, we do it all the time too, and it's encouraged within the ClickFunnels community, is go and hack our funnel. And what I mean is go to raisingcapitalforrealestate.com, see what happens to you when you click yes to everything, maybe buy the $100 offer or whatever it might be, and just see where our funnels take you and model after what works, right? Like we're all about sharing. Like we want to take everyone to the next level. And I think that's something that holds a lot of entrepreneurs back, especially in commercial real estate, is this used to be a business of the good old boys and country clubs. And what Hunter has done, and I'm grateful for, has kind of waived that mindset and is like, hey, from a competitive perspective, we want to be competitive, but we want to bring everyone up at the same time. And that's our approach. So raisingcapitalforrealestate.com, 100K to invest.com, 5 million in 30 days.com. If you really want to do this, go ahead and buy that bonus package or whatever.
Yeah, and buy Hunter Thompson's book, because that's a book I read twice.
Yeah,
I might have even read it 3 times.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it is a US focus. We're here in Canada, so there is some regulatory and other items that is different here in Canada, but we raise equity from both Canadian.
Before I forget too, I just want to say
US.
thank you guys for the opportunities you're providing for Canadians, because you don't see, personally, I don't see what you guys are doing often as I would like to. So just before I forget, let me say thank you.
Yeah, for sure. It's a huge amount. Like, I mean, there's a lot of money here in Canada. There's billions of dollars being invested on the institutional side already, from Canada to the US. Canadian pension fund partnering with Greystar. So there's a lot of equity going that direction already. Quick point that I wanted to add about Russell Brunson and the ClickFunnels and those items. Russell Brunson comes from the school of, I forgot the author's name, but magnetic marketing. So that's a great book to also read.
Oh yeah.
Every day, yeah. Dan Sullivan.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Or is it Dan Kennedy?
No, not Dan Sullivan. Is some
Dan Kennedy. Dan Sullivan's strategic coach, I think.
Yeah. I, that name rings a bell for something else. Yeah. So
Right.
now, yeah. So let's talk about kind of the. So you're literally in the educational business of teaching how people can, RaiseMasters. I'm focusing on, right? Like on people how to raise capital. What would be the first step a real estate investment firm should take, right? Like somebody who, equity is a very important part of a real estate investment firm, of a real estate private equity firm. What is the first step they need to take? Like we always talk about is, I think in our business, we have this unknown, which is it the deal first or is it the equity first? Kind of like the chicken and egg. So which comes first, the equity or the deal? So talk to us about this. And again, on that educational journey, and you made a great point when you asked Hunter, hey, how can I add value to you? He right away said, who are the richest people in your network? Connect me with them. So is it the same kind of logic when it comes to an actual real estate investment firm? How do they grow? How do they start? Talk to us about that journey. What should they do first?
Yeah, so I'm going to do the unsolicited marketing plug, which is obviously go to raisemasters.com and come join the party. But aside from that, if there's there's a lot of different ways you can unpack this and answer it. So I'm going to give 2 that are coming to mind for me right now. The first one is you really, really need to be clear on who you've been called to serve and what it is that's really motivating you on a daily basis to get out of bed and do bigger and bigger deals. And I say that because I've done hundreds of phone calls with capital raisers who are interested in joining our group. And the people that come in and everything just seems to click, they make friends, they grow their business, etc., are the ones who know the individuals and groups that they're serving outside of their real estate business. So we've probably heard this a billion times. You're going to hear it 1,000,001. Get clear on your why, your purpose, and who you've been called to serve. The next step, and this is more
Quickly on that, is that fair to say? Recognize your avatar. Who is the exact person that your services would perfectly align with?
Yeah, and I'll even give you a little avatar hack right here.
Oh.
And I got this again from Hunter, and it works very well for us. Logan Freeman, who many people in our circle probably know, serving Logan, that's what we wanted to create this group around. And from that came everything else. And so a hack for your avatar is actually identify that one person that you know. And we didn't call Logan up and say, hey, we're building this for you. But like between Hunter and I, like we were like, people like Logan, that's who we want to serve here. So that's a really helpful avatar hack that we've got.
That's a pretty sophisticated guy there, Logan Freeman. That,
Yeah, he's really. We had him on.
We had him on our show.
Yeah.
So like, if he can,
awesome.
if he invests with you,
awesome.
you're in a pretty good position, man. Right?
Yeah, love Logan. So free plug, guys, go check out Logan Freeman. He's very active on LinkedIn too. Great place to reach out to him. Tell him that you know me in August.
Yeah, absolutely.
So my second, and I want to be clear on this one, this is definitely a recommendation, but from seeing hundreds and hundreds of real estate entrepreneurs and really just business owners across the spectrum of entrepreneurship, the businesses that grow and move the fastest are the ones that have created a platform similar to what you guys have with this show that allow other people to come on and shine, and then also using that platform to communicate with the people in their network. So I just had a call with someone right before we got on here who's having a little bit of imposter syndrome and is thinking about, becoming a thought leader. And I know it seems like everyone and their grandma is one now, but I'm here to tell you, like, from seeing it over and over and over and over again, the people who grow the fastest tend to be the ones that have said, okay, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to press record. I'm going to turn the camera on. I'm going to get on the microphone. Let's make it happen. And guess what? Version 1 is better than version none. So I am here to tell you there's other ways to do this thing, but the one that continuously just seems to work again and again and again are the people who show up, get on camera, get in front of a microphone, and are consistent with it.
There's a golden nugget there that you just mentioned. So it's not only creating a thought leadership platform and creating content, but letting others shine. That is huge right there, because that's an abundance mindset. And that is how we connected with our mentor, Dan Hanford, who was bringing other syndicators. And
sounds like I'm going to be seeing you guys in Charlotte.
Yes, sir. You will be. So he's bringing other syndicators and talking about their success in the deals they've closed. So I'm like, hold on a second. That goes against all logic. He's literally bringing his competition on his show and promoting them. How does this work? And it was totally a switch in my mind, because in my business as a contractor, yes, I connected with other contractors, but the environment I was in was not very helpful. Nobody really gave a lending hand to me, or nobody would even introduce me to a contractor or a plumber, let alone come and give me the blueprint. And when I saw Dan Hanford, he was literally giving the blueprint on how to build a real estate private equity firm. And you can all see his trajectory of where he's been, well over $1 billion. We've partnered with him in a couple of deals. So tremendous guy, tremendous individual. But it goes to that point you made, that letting others shine on your platform, creating content, but for advantage of others. So it's very important point. Mindset. Really, a lot of amazing.
Joe Fairless has done a great job with it as well. He doesn't even host his own podcast. He has other hosts shining, bringing on guests, and it's a big deal when you go on his show.
For sure.
Right.
All right, so let's go ahead.
I'm excited to jump into this one, Adam, because at CPI Capital, we talk about the investor's journey of the know, like, and trust, right? So let's discuss the perfect investor journey. The investor sees the real estate private equity group's content, and the know kind of starts there. But how do you, Adam, take them to the like, and then eventually to the trust, where they end up investing?
Wow. So August, I think I saw you in one of our RaiseMasters webinars. So I got to do the myth busting moment with you here, which is, people think, you just go pitch deals to those who know, like, and trust you. That's actually not true, because you need people to be obsessed with you to give you their money. They need to know, they need to be listening to your podcast when it comes out all the time to get to that level of, hey, here's 50, 100, 200 grand, right? So can we recycle the question here real quick, just because I want to make sure it's as laser focused as possible. What's the specific question?
Yeah, so we create content. The investor sees us and watching us on let's say YouTube. So they create that kind of know. How do we get them, or how do you take them to eventually the like, well, to the like, and then eventually to the trust where they actually invest with you?
Yeah, so it's
Cut you a
basically
check.
the investor journey triad is the know, like, and trust for somebody to invest with you, and then it continually, perpetually moves. Because if they invest with you, they're going to introduce others to invest with you. They'll reinvest with you. So okay, we got the know. The know is create content.
It's
The abundance,
be seen everywhere.
be seen everywhere, create a lot of content, refurbish that content, become thought leaders in the space. Great. Like for example, with us as Canadians investing in US multifamily, you just Google that word, we'll come up there somewhere. But now that we've achieved the know, how do you get them to kind of like you, to trust you, to eventually give their hard-earned money to you? And in real estate private equity, essentially what you're saying is, give me your money. I will go and invest with it in what I think is right. You have no say. You know, there is potentially some risk involved, and you have no say. You're an LP. How do you gain that much trust within that journey and do it in a reasonable time? But talk to us about that journey of what you've advised others or what you've seen others excel at.
Yeah. I gotta, the recommendation here has to be the one that I've lived, because I have seen different strategies work. I think the biggest piece here is, if you don't already have an email list that you're managing and growing and attracting leads to, you really, like, you just have to. If you're raising money and you don't have an email list, start right now.
CRM and nurture. CRM nurture.
Yeah.
You got to know those two words.
We do it on a weekly basis.
And there's a really cool concept that Hunter goes into depth in within RaiseMasters called the infinite honeymoon sequence, which we don't have time for it here today, but it's to your point of nurturing. So what has worked best for me is showing up, as we mentioned multiple times, showing up every week, doing the podcast every week, getting an email out to your list once per week. Richard Wilson, family offices or commercialrealestate.com, brilliant, good friend of ours, shared a nugget with our group when he came to speak, which was, if you can show up in someone's email inbox consistently for 1 to 3 years, you'll become a regional expert. If you can show up in someone's inbox from 3 to 5 years, you become national. And if you can send an email to your list once per week for 7 years, that's when you get to that international level. And he got that from Jeffrey Gitomer, who's a very famous sales thought leader. If you haven't heard of him, that's someone I would recommend checking out as well. So you create this funnel, and at ASIM Capital, we call it the AENC system: attract, educate, nurture, close. And during that whole process, and we've mentioned it multiple times now, you can definitely check out Hunter's book if you want to see the AENC broken down. But the close piece, which I would say is really what I enjoy the most, is once you have that phone call, once you get who it is that you've been looking to serve or have a conversation with, getting really clear. Okay, maybe they've listened to your show. Maybe they are obsessed with you. Maybe at that point, oftentimes they are just like, hey, where do I send the money? But if they want to vet you as a capital raiser and get to know you, it really comes down to one thing. And I even wrote it down here. I don't know if it's going to show up on the
payoff.
It's all about the payoff. And what that means is figuring out, what is it that inspired, we'll just use this as an example. What is it that inspired that investor to get on the phone with you and have that phone call? Because there's something there. There is a payoff that they're looking for. And if you can get clear on what their payoff is and deliver that for them, that's really the ultimate secret here. And so I just can't help but stress how important it is to focus on listening and figuring out what does the payoff look like for this person? Why did they really want to talk to me in the first place? And if you can be like, hey, look, here it is, silver platter, here you go.
Tremendous. Is wording that differently? Could it also kind of be said that what's in it for them and what is their pain point that you're solving? Because those are the kind of the way we describe this concept in here.
Yeah. You know what? Pain points are really powerful. And I don't know it chronologically where you would want to fit this into a conversation, but it's something I would suggest thinking about. And I want to use the RaiseMasters sales process as an example. There is some pain point that all capital raisers and all investors have. And the one that I know when I'm on the phone with someone and I really want to grab their attention, if I'm able to say, hey, what does your online presence look like? And what are you doing to attract cold leads and convert them? Even if someone's doing a really good job of that, that's a pain point that we all just want to keep getting better at. And so figuring out like what that one pain point is to kind of draw someone in and establish yourself as an authority is a really good way to also kind of show, what you're talking about and get them that end goal, that desire that they're looking for.
All right.
Amazing.
All right.
Amazing.
I just want to touch on something really quickly because I have the man himself here with me.
The man, and he plays he plays actual basketball, not like some people.
Hey, we have an inside joke now because I'm not gonna forget that.
I'm never gonna live that one down.
We're not gonna let it down either.
I love it.
Every time we see the three of us, we get together.
Just wait till I start doing 3-pointers with this guy, okay?
All right.
Okay, Adam. Right. Now you mentioned change of topic here. You mentioned you leverage communication, right? And that's a really key thing that you focus in on. Now tell me, what makes a good communicator?
Wow, loaded question. Love it. A good communicator is surprisingly someone who remembers that you have 2 ears and 1 mouth first. And I'm sure my wife is going to listen to this at some point and smack me a little bit, but it really circles back to that payoff piece, or how can, listening to someone and figuring out how can I add value to them when you're in a networking environment, or it doesn't even really need to be a networking environment, just conversational. I think one powerful question to always ask people, and also really serve them and help them and get them thinking, which is, what is that one thing, that one connection, that resource, that tool, or that one thing that you need right now in your life that could double the size of your business, that could 2x, 3x, 4x your quality of life right now. Everyone's one idea or connection away from where they want to be. And so not just asking that, but like really truly caring and making a mental note of it. Also, you'll find sometimes that someone will tell you what they need, and maybe you don't have a resource or a tool or connection for them, but the universe will manifest that result for you. And maybe a week later, someone said they needed a plumber, even though you didn't know any a week. You happen to run into a plumber at the store. Oh, hey, I know someone. Boom. Connections. The plumber example just came to, I think you said something about plumbing earlier, contracting, which is why I thought of it. But, what makes a great communicator is someone who's willing to serve first and get people to where they want to go faster.
Amazing. Awesome.
All
right, cool. So a couple more quick questions here before we move on. I had a question, like this might be a bit confusing, but it's about an investor culture. So for example, we're trying to create some cultures within CPI. One of them is about communication. So the idea is getting back to investors in an extremely fast timeline. So we've initially had a matter of few hours, but now it's within 24 hours getting back to investors. Is that the type of advice you guys provide as well to people going through your program? Is also the kind of after the deal close communications with investors and the importance of it? Because if you did all this work, created all this content, raised capital, did a deal, but now if you drop the ball after the deal closes on the communications or anything else, now you're not going to have that the perpetualness of the journey. So is there any kind of advice you have about this topic?
Yeah, I think so. To answer your question, within what we've created and are providing, the answer is definitely yes. We have the email swipe files that we've used for the past decade, and we're always tweaking them, making them better, whatever. So like from a communication perspective, there is a cadence that us and a lot of our members follow specifically. I'm really not able to go into a whole lot of detail on it. One, because we were limited on time, and 2, I actually really leave most of that, as I mentioned, to Hunter. What I can say is you definitely want to keep that communication at as frequent as possible. You don't have to be emailing your investors every day, and most of them are super busy. They don't want to be bugged every day.
Right.
But I guess one thing I've seen is a lot of again, this is more just entrepreneurship, the email list strategy. If someone isn't responding to you or opening your emails, you have to be okay with accepting that, because it's probably not a personal thing. Like, we're all really busy. Mm-hmm. And so that's coming to mind for me right now. But as far as when the deal closes, I do think it is, to your point, really important to get that message out. Hey, oversubscribed, whatever. Be on the lookout for the next one. And this is just me thinking off the top of my head right now. I don't think it would hurt you too much to, like, if you happen to go a little bit past 24 hours, like if it was 2 days later or whatever, I think it's okay. But yeah, you know, the more punctual you can be, obviously will normally serve you. And yeah, I mean, does that help answer your question?
For sure. But how about these
Absolutely.
cultures, idea of creating these types of cultures when it comes, maybe not only to investor communications, but other types of cultures? Is that something that you've got to know within your journey in business and being involved in different organizations and companies?
So from a culture perspective with investors, we understand, you know, in this world of marketing, there are some people that don't like that. Hey, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. Hurry up, click now, click now, click now. Oh, you missed it. Like, that does turn some people off. What we have found is it gets the job done, though. I have had, and I'll use again RaiseMasters as an example. There's a few follow-up emails that we send out. Hey, you got 48 hours to get back to me, which is true sometimes. But some people are like, oh, that's too salesy or whatever. Hey, look, I understand it. Yeah, I get it. This is what works, though, and we're going to keep doing what works. So keep that in mind. And we have someone recently who raised $16 million in one day. Granted, he's been in the game for 30 years, but one of his biggest concerns, even before joining RaiseMasters, is like, how do I do this without being spammy? I've worked 30 years on this email list. The last thing I want them to think is I'm just some like marketing, like weird person. And he followed the playbook, and that's the best raise he's ever had. 16 million in one day. And yeah, he'll say it in the interview. You can go to Dream Chasers. I think it's episode 202 on our platform. He was concerned about the being spammy. And thankfully, I'd say that the playbook, that you can really get a glimpse at our playbook just through Hunter's book, but that is a formula that works without being spammy, which I think is really important for the culture. I think that's what you were asking. Am I right?
Sure. Absolutely, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, just we'll get to the. I know that we're under the gun here with the time. I'll just ask you one brief, very quick question before we get to the next thing.
I'm having a blast.
I'm having a blast too.
What advice do you have to a passive investor looking to start investing in real estate, private equity, or these syndicated investments?
I think it's really, really important to get clear again on your goals. Where do you want to be in 3 years, 4 years, 5 years? And then as far as getting started, you know, one thing that has stuck with me for maybe the past year or so, I heard someone say, you know, the wealthiest people in the world, at the end of the day, they invest in business plans and they invest in people. I'm like, wow, that's really simple. And that makes a lot of sense. So identify from a human connection perspective who it is that you as an investor really resonate with their message and who they are. I'm going to go ahead and endorse Ava in August right now. If you like these crazy Canucks, like really get to know them, go through all of their stuff and do your own research, do your homework, get educated. That would be the before making any type of passive investment, figuring out, you know, who do you align with? And then also, you know, I'm sure you guys provide a business plan and future forecast, everything. Like just get to know them as an example, or whoever else you could compare to Ava in August.
Amazing advice. Thank you. All right.
Okay, are you ready for the next segment of our show? Are you ready for the next?
He's got to be ready for it. I'm just going to sit here and look pretty.
All right, Adam. It's the 10 championship rounds to financial freedom. So number one question, whatever comes top of mind. There we go. He's all pumped up. Okay. Number one. Who was the most influential person in your life?
Papa Carswell, Mike Carswell. I know that's a little bit cliche. A lot of people like to give shouts out to their dad, but you know, my dad, from the hood, east side of Cleveland, basketball was his ticket out of the hood. Basketball was my ticket to see in the world. And you know, he's been married to my mom for 33 years now. Interracial marriage, pretty rare, pretty awesome. Papa Carswell all the way.
All right. Awesome, that's amazing. Adam, what is the number one book you'd recommend?
Oh man. I'm gonna go with Raising Capital for Real Estate. Hunter's book. I think it's the red pill after the red pill. You read Rich Dad Poor Dad, you read Hunter's book, you start going, wow.
Yeah, if you're in real estate investing, you know, if you don't have any need for equity now that need will come if you're good at doing what you're doing, real estate investing. So, and if you're in real estate investing, that is one of the fundamental books you need to have on your shelf at all times.
Absolutely. Okay, Adam.
Even if you're not in it, it can really give you a lot of epiphanies that you weren't thinking of.
For sure.
Nice. Okay, Adam, if you had the opportunity to travel back in time, what advice would you give your younger self?
Keep going, dude. and don't stop. Like there's going to be times where you think you should quit on whatever venture you're pursuing. Stick with it. Most of us are not willing to endure being bad long enough to become good. So pick what you're willing to be bad at for a little bit, so that way you can become a master.
I actually heard you saying that on a different podcast, and I wrote
One of my favorite quotes right now. I think we keep saying it.
Love that.
Keep saying it. Spread the word. All right. What is the best investment you've ever made?
That one that I referenced earlier on our call, which was, when I barely had any money in the account, but scrapped up $2,000 to invest learning from Hunter. That's paid 1,000x, if not more at this point. Right. So that one.
Amazing. Invest in yourself, right? What's the worst investment you've ever made, and what lessons did you learn from it?
Worst, I was a victim of the multi-level marketing thing at one point, and I almost wouldn't say it wasn't a bad investment, right? Because I look back at the journey that created in my life for maybe like a 3 or 4 month window, and it now gives me an admiration of those who are in MLM, because those are entrepreneurs. And they're trying to make things, they're just really trying to make things better, take life into their own hands. And so I invested in I won't say the name, but I invested in an MLM about like 5 or 6 years ago, and battle scars, onward and upward.
Those guys are hustlers, man. And they have no qualms in calling you, messaging you, becoming your best friend to just get you part of that whole system.
Right.
That works.
Right.
All right.
All right. Okay. How much would you need in the bank to retire today? What's your number?
Trillion.
There you go. That's with a T.
Damn.
That's with a T. There have been trillionaires before in the world. The Shah of Iran was a trillionaire.
Yeah.
There's some say that some of the Saudi royal, the Saudi king is a trillionaire. But yeah, I mean,
That's a dream right there. That's a goal.
My personal brand, we just created a shirt 2 days ago that says Trillionaire in the making. So I'm going to put it in our Zoom chat here if you guys want to circulate it. I think that with the amount of money that the Fed just printed in the past 2 years, it sounds kind of funny, but I wouldn't be shocked to see more trillionaires popping up in the next decade.
Exactly.
All right, there you go. Okay, Adam, if you could have dinner with someone dead or alive, who would it be?
Kanye.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. We've never had that before.
Yeah. I think he's someone who's very misunderstood, and I do believe he's one of the massive geniuses of this day and age. Would love to tap into his energy.
Absolutely.
So cool.
Absolutely.
All right. If you weren't doing what you're doing today, what would you be doing now?
I would probably be flying somewhere warm with a beach and playing some kind of Super Mario video game. We'll call it Super Mario Strikers.
Love it. Such unique answers. Okay, Booksmart or Streetsmart?
Street all day.
Street, okay.
I'd be curious to know, does anyone ever say Booksmart?
Rarely, yeah. I would
Rarely.
say probably 5%, maybe 2.5%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got to go street.
But the more educated our guests are, the more adamant they are on this concept of street smarts. So.
Yeah, there you go. Last question, Adam. If you had $1 million cash and you had to make one investment today, what would it be?
And I'm going to make an emphasis on this question. It's a very particular question, okay? It says you got $1 million cash, it's liquid. Yeah, you can make only one investment, and it has to be done. You have to deploy it today. So, I mean, today the markets are still open or what have you. But I'm just saying. So it's just,
We do have a multifamily opportunity today, just so you know.
Besides investing with you guys. Wow. I love this question. I might even have to recycle it for my own show. I'm going to go with, I understand this is a bit crazy, but I don't care. I'm going with Bitcoin.
Wow, I knew he was going to say that.
One of the most common answers we've had on our show. So you're not far off. What a lot of people, very well experienced and established business people are saying. Shocking to me. A lot of people who are involved in real estate until they're till their neck. They're saying, "Hey man, that was great. Really appreciate it, man. We were excited that we had you on."
Yeah, and, Adam, this is so much fun. But last question: what's the best way that people can reach you?
Yes. I've put a lot of thought into this recently, and I got to go with RaiseMasters.com. And here's why. If you go there, one, if you're a member of ours, you can log right into your portal. And number two, if you're not, you'll see we've got a webinar coming up that you can attend. So RaiseMasters.com, because I just want to be able to serve you and anyone else here who's tuned into my highest and best potential. And that really is the best way to do so. You can find me on LinkedIn, wherever. Feel free to reach out. If there's one call to action I can give you, come join the party at RaiseMasters.
Awesome. Really appreciate it, man.
Thank you so much for sharing so many, not 1, 2, 3, but like I think 30 golden nuggets with us today. So thank you for being here.
Thank you guys for all the hard work you put in. I really appreciate it.
Cheers.